Hey everyone, Rick here. I wanted to make a quick video for behind the scenes of how I set things up for ReveCon because I've had some people ask. So one, some of this is going to be a little bit rougher of a video because I'm doing this on my phone, but I have to do it kind of backwards, so I can't see the screen right now. I'm going to show you guys like basically the overall of how I had things set up. It's going to look a little messy because I was in a hurry and because typically if I was doing a big production or if I was part of a big production or something, you'd make sure that the cables are cleaned up and other things because there's going to be other people around. But when it's something that's internal, you just do what you have to do to be able to move it along because you end up spending hours cleaning up cables, taping things down, moving things and positioning things and everything. So you end up with a lot of time. And since I was doing all the setup myself, you just got to do what you got to do. And as you're trying to like plan things and figure things out, because I don't have like a method yet for in this room of how to set up a streaming show like I did with ReveCon. That's different. And I had to make adjustments from what I did with the first ReveCon. So anyway, I'm going to show you kind of some things around here. So firstly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different lights. All of these are LEDs. They're newer, I think all 4 of them are, which is a cheaper brand that you can get off of Amazon, which is nice. I had my primary camera, which I'll just show you a rough idea of where the angle was and went this direction. I don't know if you can hear my kids in the background, but sorry about that. That was where I was sitting. I had a brown chair that was over there. We have this camera here that was for Jerry. This one was a little bit further back when it was happening, but he was up over here. We have the top-down camera shot, and then we have the webcam that was doing the dice box. Now, the reason I did a webcam here instead of a different type of camcorder or DSLR or some other type of camera is primarily because this one connected with USB while all of the cameras connected with an HDMI to my switcher, which I'll get to in a moment. But with the USB, I could send that directly over to my computer tower, which is over here to my left, and then I could have that as an additional video source in OBS Studio and be able to have that set up so that I could have an additional camera there. And I had just kind of moved the box over. So interesting enough, the camera wasn't centered on this when it was here. It was actually to the side because this empty space was off screen. So I kind of just slid the box of the camera view in OBS over so that way it was more square instead of rectangle. Let's see. So over here where I was sitting, it's very messy because what I had up over here, besides my XLR cables and stuff that were crossing over here to the audio equipment, is I have this computer that was set up off screen where I had my drawing tablet as the monitor for that and the keyboard. I had those set up here out of frame, and I was able to control the slides with the arrow key on the computer. I was doing that through Google, presentation, which is their PowerPoint. And that way I could access it between different computers without having to switch and everything. The drawing tablet was my video source, as I mentioned, and then I split the HDMI signal coming out of the computer. So I had one going to that tablet. The other one was going over here to my switchboard, which had one HDMI source for slides, and then my camera, Jerry's camera, and then the overshot camera. So this switchboard is really interesting because what it does is it takes HDMI signals and you can switch back and forth when it's on, and it'll switch the camera that's shown on the screen, and then it converts it into USB so that I can connect it to the tower, and then everything communicates together. This here is my audio box. This is last year I used a switchboard, an audio board that would then convert the signal into USB to send to the computer. I didn't want to do that because last year I had a problem with it and I didn't like what ended up happening. So what I did instead was I used this box that I've had for a while. The only reason I didn't use this box previously is because it has 2 inputs for the XLR cables, which for my lavaliers I use these XLR cable, which will run to the box, and then it has a long cable that has the microphone. The reason I don't like this box is because when you plug in your XLR, it's either left or right. So like if you were listening on your speakers or on headphones or something, you'd only hear either in the left channel or the right channel instead of stereo, hearing in both. So I got this idea, well, what if I took a bunch of splitters, basically split the signal coming from the microphones, and then ended up recombining them together in order to create a singular left and right that had both Jerry and I on the left and Jerry and I on the right. And it worked perfectly. So I'll be able to use these as well going forward for my own stuff when I'm doing other types of videos. So That was the audio, which then also converts it to USB to send to the computer. And that's the gist of it. I mean, as you can see, there's all kinds of extension cords and XLRs and all kinds of other stuff that's on the floor. And that's just kind of how it is. So like when you're doing these productions, like I said, if you're doing it with a stage or with other people coming in here and working, you have to make sure everything's a lot more cleanly and safe. But when you're doing stuff like this and you're doing all the jobs yourself, you got to just do what you got to do in order to get the job done. And this still took me, I don't know, 8 hours of setup, but that was because I was trying to figure out where's the best place to put the lights, where's the best place to put the cameras, what do we want the background to look like, and having to move things that I normally have, you know, because you can see that rack in the over here normally has more stuff on it, but I don't want that in a shot where I'm trying to represent, you know, and do ReveCon, right? So I have to move all that stuff off that I would normally, you know, it has other places for storage. So don't feel bad if you have to just do what you have to do to get the shot, and right, I mean, because at the end of the day, that's the important thing. Lots of these lights, most of this equipment is actually pretty cheap. It all adds up, of course, so that you can end up spending several $100s or several $1,000s by the time you're done, but you don't have to start at this level. I've been adding to my equipment pool for several years now. Like one of the new things I have is this C-stand here. It has 3 legs that fold up and stuff, and it extends up really high. So like that was a newer thing that I bought that was like $100, $90. And you're like, well, that's $90 just for a stand. Yeah, but look what it can do. It can go all the way up to the ceiling. It can stretch really far across. I can anchor a camera there, which I used with a mount that I bought off Amazon that was like 20 or 30 bucks. So none of it is overly crazy expensive, but it all adds up and it takes a lot of things to pull all this together. But you could do something a lot lower key. You know, you could do just, you don't even need the switcher. You could just edit your video together, or you could stream just off of your phone, or you could do a webcam. There's lots of things that you can do to kind of, you know, do things the way that you need to for this. I had the equipment, I could do it the way I wanted to with ReveCon. If I were to do it differently, if I could upgrade anything, it would be the cameras, primarily. I purchased these cameras from Amazon. These two right here, the top down, and this one that I had for Jerry. I bought those off Amazon like right before the show. Actually, this tripod too, because my other tripod just wasn't great. Those were 130, which for camcorders is incredibly cheap. But I would love to upgrade those so that they are a better quality, because the primary camera I have is a pretty nice quality, but I don't have 3 of those, right? So, you know, you do what you can, you move forward, and you keep adding things, you keep learning things, you keep improving things. You know, a lot of it comes down to the flow of the presentation, how well you know your information, how well you can talk on camera. Those are all skill sets that you just need time with. You know, I've been making, when I look back on my YouTube career that I was doing before I was doing Revelations, I mean, I've recorded, I don't know, I have to be over 1,000 projects now that I've recorded on YouTube when you count just all the different videos I've done. I've got to be well over 1,000 at this point. So like I'm pretty comfortable on camera in this kind of a setting. If you were to take me and put me up on stage, I've been on stage before, that's not so bad. But when you know that you're filming like a commercial or something and you have to deliver lines an exact way, that makes me still nervous, as opposed to like, yeah, get on here and just talk to people. Like I can do that part, right? But anyway, so if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer. I don't want to have like an exact item list of every single thing I used, because some of it, I don't even know if it's still available anymore, because you know things on Amazon, they come and they go. So I don't even know. But if you have specific questions, I can help, or I can at least tell you what type of thing to kind of move in the direction of. But if I were to write down every single thing that I used and everything, like it would be overwhelming for a lot of people. So, you know, don't focus on what did Rick do? I need to copy Rick, and you have like $300 of a budget, right? Focus on having a pretty decent camera. You know, you could buy 2 lights, whether it's like these panel lights, which allow you to change the color temperature and also the intensity, or like those bar lights, and those give off a pretty nice amount of light as well. And you can position those. They come with, both of these came with the stands when I purchased them. So like you can, you know, you got to be smart with your money when you're investing it, when you only got like $300 or $400 for equipment, but you can pull something off, pull something together. You could use ring lights. Ring lights can be anywhere from like 20, 30 bucks up to 100 plus. And those usually come with a stand as well. And, you know, so you're able to kind of pull things together pretty affordably if you're careful and smart about it. All right. So talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for support with ReveCon, and I'll talk to you guys later.